Hey YouTube, what's shaking? I'm Patrick Jagera, the Cosmic Alchemist, and welcome to today's video. So, this video I kind of want to get into something and I guess clarify a term I've been using in my recent videos. So, last few monthlies and I think some videos in between that I've done, I've talked about the new intelligence, and I explained it, but I haven't gotten into depth because, as you know, my videos are long enough and I can't go on too many tangents. So, the new intelligence, let's talk about the old intelligence first. And we have to talk about both because we're basically kind of between signs right now. So when I say between signs, I'm talking about the ages. So we have, for example, Age of Pisces, Age of Aquarius. We're kind of between the two. So they don't just change like a light switch. So yeah, we're in Aquarius, but it's not like a switch just flips and everything's Aquarius. It's a very long, slow dimmer switch. So what you have to do is you have to dim down the old age and you have to dim up the new age. So you have to dim down Pisces and you have to dim up Aquarius in the case of where we are now. So we're in there's an old term called an interregnum. It basically means between kings, between regimes. So we're between regimes, and so on the subject of the old intelligence, we just came out of the Age of Pisces, and that was, 2,000 plus years. The Age of Pisces is all about, you're basically, we're ruled by a pyramidal hierarchy, a pyramidal authority structure. So in those kinds of times, you're either somebody on top of the pyramid or very close to them, or you're everybody else. And the reason, this is that way is because the Age of Pisces is all about basically balancing karma, balancing past life karma. So past life karma is all about, karma is just about balancing accounts. It's not like a Christian or an Islamic type, divine crime and punishment kind of thing. It's all about balancing accounts. So if you had fun at someone else's expense in a past life, then in this life or some life down the road or over several lifetimes, people are going to have fun at your expense. They're going to benefit from kind of your misfortunes. Now, on the other hand, if in past lives other people were benefiting from your misfortunes, then you're going to get a good deal in this life or, in lifetimes down the road. That's basically how it all works out. So when the world comes back to the Age of Pisces, it's the big account balancing. So basically most of the world gets the shaft during the Age of Pisces. That's the best way I can explain it. Is everybody kind of suffers, and it's just so that we can unload all that to go to the Age of Aquarius. So in Pisces, you're unloading all that past life karma, and then in Aquarius, you get more harmony, more balance, more peace, more beauty. You get more of the things you want in life. So, as humanity, as a human family, over the long course of the ages, this 25,000 year procession of the equinoxes, where we move through all 12 signs. Pisces is like the big balancing. If there are any outstanding karmic debts, that's where they get paid off. So that's why, basically through the Age of Pisces, we're ruled by psychopaths. We're ruled by a very small minority of psychopaths. And Pisces deals with a lot of illusions too, because Neptune is the co-ruler of Pisces. Jupiter is the big ruler, and Neptune is like the co-ruler. So Neptune's all about illusions. So in the Age of Pisces, you're not only ruled by psychopaths, but you're ruled by hidden psychopaths, because what they do is they create churches and religions and governments and political parties and kings and queens, and they use those kings and queens and churches and religions and governments and political parties as a smokescreen. Because in the world, people with real power, and I'm talking like the giant banks, the giant corporations, they're very intelligent, and they know that they don't show their faces. They don't want to show the public their faces, because when the people get angry and have a revolution, they're going to come for them and take them to the guillotines, or take them to a trial, a crimes against humanity trial. So they're too smart for that. They know that to win in the end and to maintain power over generations on behalf of their families or their bank or their corporations or whatever, they know that it's best to give up the fame and basically let the narcissists who want to be in politics, who want to lead religions, who want to lead governments, who want to be kings and queens, let them have all the fame and take the credit for running the show, but keep your own face hidden. So that's what people talk about, the hidden hand, and people think it's all conspiracy theory bullshit, fantasy. It's just people with all the money who own everything, who are smart enough to not want to be famous. That's the hidden hand. So through the whole Age of Pisces, you do have a hidden hand, and it creates this pyramidal hierarchy, and it creates these puppet rulers. It puts forth these rulers they're illusions. They're not really the rulers. They just kind of manage things for the real rulers. So when you get that kind of a world going, like I said, most people get the shaft. You basically you get big commercial and financial interests who own the government, and they use the governments to steal your money, to take a third of your income after you go to work every day, and bust your ass at work. So that's the general way the Age of Pisces works. So the old intelligence that prevails during the Age of Pisces is one of just go along to get along. So it's all about identifying what people in authority, so we're talking people in church, government, academia, school, your boss, people in your family, your older brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, blah, 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 your parents. Figure out what they think, figure out what their opinions are, and agree with those opinions and agree with those ideas, and regurgitate those views and those values back to them. If ever you feel that there's a question about what you think, so what you're always doing in the old intelligence of the Age of Pisces is you're ingratiating yourself to people in power and people in authority. So it's really a time of selflessness, and like I say a lot of the time, really the dirtiest word in the world is selflessness, because let's face it, people like the Soviets, like the Nazis, like the Catholic Inquisitions, like the jihads that the Muslim world has fought to go kill everybody who disagrees with us so we can build our utopia. Selfless people in all those situations did all the killing and all the torture and all the oppression and all that stuff. So basically, when you don't have your own will, when you don't have your own opinion and your own identity, you look for somebody to boss you around. You look for an ass to kiss. So you kiss the ass of the person that bosses you around, and you adopt their opinions and their ideas and their worldview, and you just do whatever they tell you to do, because it's a lot less frightening than having to face the responsibility of ruling your own life and being your own boss and being your own leader. So that's the old that's the old intelligence, and the old intelligence feeds all that toxic behavior. So selflessness gets praised in the world, but it gets praised by dysfunctional institutions and dysfunctional people. I can remember in the Navy with retirement ceremonies and like hail and farewell ceremonies, people are always getting praised for their selflessness. But you do have to cooperate with people, you do have to help people, but at the same time, the phrase "nice guys finish last" is absolutely true. So you have to have a balance. You have to be a little selfish at times, and at times you have to be a little selfless. But you don't live life just totally selfless, because you get burned out and you end up getting resentful, and you live a life where you have no boundaries and people can just come in and just demand things of you anytime. And even if you think you're doing a great thing, really deep down you realize you're being taken advantage of. So yeah, when you're selfless, you get taken advantage of to the extreme. But that's the thing in the Age of Pisces, is our churches, our governments, very often our families, our neighbors, and just anybody with some sort of authority takes advantage of us day in and day out. And we're raised to think that it's a good thing to be taken advantage of. So yeah, so like I said, the old intelligence is just identifying the worldview, the values, the ideas, and the opinions of people in positions of authority, and just regurgitating those, and just imitating them, and having no concept of your own self, your own will, your own opinion, your own likes and dislikes. You basically adopt the identity of people in positions of authority. So, and that is made of borderline personality disorder and codependent personality disorder. So the Age of Pisces is extremely codependent and extremely borderline. People have no sense of themselves and no boundaries, and they adopt, again, the ideas, the opinions, the values, the emotions, the behaviors of people in positions of authorities. And then what they do is they go out and police other people, and they make sure that all their fellow peasants, us working stiffs, they make sure all their fellow peasants have the ideas and the behaviors and the emotions and the worldviews and the values of people in authority. And if they don't, they put a shitload of peer pressure on them, and sometimes they beat them up, they kill them. Or it's like now with YouTube and social media and the mainstream media, they censor people, they suppress people, they ridicule people, or they just say your ideas are dangerous and they're too dangerous to be expressed. So that's the Age of Pisces. And the Age of Pisces is dying right now, which means that this old intelligence is dying. But it doesn't want to die, because information is a living thing. Information is energy. It's a form of energy. And energy, just like any living thing, doesn't want to die. And it'll fight like a bastard to stay alive. So that's what's happening right now. And that's the thing people have talked about for a long time, is when Pisces ends and Aquarius begins, Pisces has like the last flicker of the candle. So what happens is collectivism comes back in a big way. So, as we're moving into like an egalitarian Age of Aquarius, and in the Age of Aquarius, you cooperate with people, but you're also your own leader, and people don't tell you what to do, and you don't tell other people what to do. And I think with the birth chart of the United States in the evening on July 4th, 1776, I think they waited for a moon in Aquarius for that very reason, because it's a mindset of egalitarianism and do no harm and receive no harm. You don't boss people around. Nobody bosses anyone around, and nobody bosses you around. So when, like I said, when you're transitioning out of the Age of Pisces and Aquarius is beginning, Pisces doesn't want to die, so then people get this renewed interest in collectivism. So just all authoritarianism, so socialism, communism, religious fundamentalism, and this happens on the left and right. You know, it's not just the evil Democrats and the evil Republicans or the evil left or the evil right. It's both sides being total fucking clowns. So Christianity, Islam, Republicans, Democrats, left, right, they're all being assholes. And they're all being a type of assholes that can't stay out of other people's business and just leave them alone and let them live their lives. And really the COVID war is really the last hurrah for the Age of Pisces. Because it's all about a small group of people. And like I said, nationalism is not about being a right-winger. Nationalism is all about when you have a nation, when one person says, you all have to do this one thing, you have to behave this one way, you can only congregate with 5 people, but not 6 people or 11 people, and you can't go to concerts, you can't do this and that, you need to wear 2 masks. That's nationalism. When one person says, do all this shit, and then when they say, think about these topics this way, and if you don't think about these topics this way, we're going to ban you and censor you. That's nationalism. It can be left or right. It doesn't matter. The Nazis, for example, were the National Socialist Party. They were the National Socialist German Workers' Party. That doesn't sound very right-wing, does it? So it doesn't matter if it's left or right-wing when you're talking about nationalism. So yeah, nationalism makes a comeback. Communism, wants to make a comeback. Socialism wants to take hold. All in religious fundamentalism, which is, more right-wing, generally wants to take hold. But all that shit has to go because it's of the Age of Pisces. So we've talked about the old intelligence. What's the new intelligence? So the new intelligence is all about having discernment and being your own leader. So in the Age of Aquarius, where you're your own leader, there's no spoon-fed truth. And a big part of the Age of Pisces in the old intelligence is that the truth is always spoon-fed to you. You always have a church, or you have a media outlet, or a political party, or your favorite politician that's going to save the day and make everything great. They spoon-feed the truth to you. And whatever they say must be true because they're just so nice and they love you so much. That's basically the idea. So with the new intelligence, there is no spoon-fed truth anymore. It's just you have to take in information. All the information's out there from all these crazy perspectives. You have to be able to take that in and give it a gut check, get your gut feeling, get your heart's feeling, and know what the truth is. And everybody's truth is a little different. And this scares the shit out of people. Especially I talk to people, my parents' generation, that scares the shit out of them because to them the idea that there's not one place you can go that gives you the truth and tells you what the truth absolutely is scares the absolute living shit out of a lot of people. But that's not our future, where people in positions of authority determine what the truth is and then you just regurgitate it. That's on the way out, but it's not dying quietly. So we have this whole COVID war, which it's total pornography for really the baby boom because they were raised with an inferiority complex about not having been old enough or haven't been born yet to go fight in World War II. So they put their parents on a pedestal and they thought they were all knowing gods basically that they had to imitate. And they've wanted a great war of their own so that they can be big heroes just like they think their parents are. So yeah, the COVID war is basically, it's pornography for them. It stokes their nostalgia. Not all baby boomers, but the ones who are really, super paranoid. It's the psychology of this whole thing is playing on their psychology and the nostalgia for their parents and, you know, the times their parents lived through. So yeah, it's the whole paradigm of just having the truth spoon-fed to you and not having to do any thinking for yourself and having any discernment and having no sense of self. It's dying, but it doesn't want to die, and it's fighting like hell to live. So the new intelligence, like I said, it's being your own leader. It's being able to take in a wild spectrum of information. So you pick a topic, there's a million opinions out there. It's the ability to be able to basically engage with the synchronicity, to hear the points of view that really resonate with you, and then being able to put a gut check on those and being able to ask yourself, okay, is this for real or is this somebody's agenda? So a lot of responsibility in the Age of Aquarius, because you have to make up your own mind, and you have to be able to feel what the truth is rather than just having it spoon-fed to you and just regurgitating it like a good little Boy Scout or a good little altar boy or a good little Girl Scout or a good little mama's boy or daddy's girl. You know, you have to lead yourself, and this is terrifying for a lot of people. And this is really why humanity is diverging right now. Really, and this has been happening for a while, but the COVID war really brought this to a head. You know, are you just dying to have an ass to kiss and someone to boss you around, or do you want to be your own leader? And do you want to make your own decisions and decide how you're going to live and decide who you're going to be? You know, and that's a thing I really see, like especially when I look at the 1960s and then the 1970s and the 1980s, and just all the drugs and all the partying and all the cocaine and all the heroin and all, you know, all the partying going on. What I see there is I see people who are very unhappy with their lives, but they don't know how to be themselves. All they know how to do is be who their parents or their church or their school or their government tells them to be. And all they know how to do is just imitate their parents. Because for the whole Age of Pisces, the way to live your life was, when in doubt, just imitate your parents and just do exactly what your parents did. But it doesn't make people happy. Just imitating your parents or whoever else, you know, that's older than you and that has authority over you, it doesn't make you happy. It makes people fester on the inside. So that's why, yeah, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you had all the drugs and the cocaine and, you know, all the crazy shit. Just all the crazy kind of irresponsible behavior. It was something people had to go through, but it wasn't a solution to anything. It was basically like, it was blowing off steam. You can't make a lifestyle of blowing off steam because it's toxic and it burns you out and it gets you nowhere and it stunts your growth, you know. And when people, whatever age people start abusing substances and medicating themselves heavily at, you get stuck at that age. So yeah, the 60s, 70s, 80s, that was kind of like the birthing process into the Age of Aquarius. It's something that had to happen, but it wasn't a solution. And really, people who were young during those times, they had to be young during very tough times when the Age of Pisces was over, but there were no Aquarian role models to follow, and they just kind of had to stumble their way through it. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy time to be young, and it wasn't an easy time to come up during and, you know, have to try to figure out who you are with no guides to help you even have a clue about having to figure out who you are. So yeah, that's kind of my rant about the old intelligence versus the new intelligence. So next time you hear me talk about that, that's what I'm talking about. The new intelligence, it's about, it's not the time to be spoon-fed the truth. You have to be able to intuit what the truth really is. And be your own leader and not be a sheep and just go with the herd and go along to get along. Because that's another thing too. During these times between the end of Pisces and the end of Aquarius, I mean the beginning of Aquarius, which is, really the beginning of Aquarius, if you just follow the herd, you're really going to get screwed. Like, you're really going to fuck yourself. And that's a big topic in this whole COVID war, and I don't want to get into that too much, but if you go with the flow too much, you're going to screw yourself. And we're going to start seeing this in the next couple of years, you mark my word. The consequences of screwing yourself by being selfless and not being discerning and not leading yourself become very apparent. So anyway, on that happy note, thanks for tuning in, and like always, you'll be hearing more from me. Have a good one.